Morning, everyone. I think we should get started because we have a really full agenda today and a tight schedule. So let me just thank everyone for coming in. There's been a lot of interest generated by this topic, health and international research in health. So CUNY faculty have stepped up to the plate. We had really 140 RSVPs for this event. So I thank you for your interest and for coming here today. I don't think you will regret any minute of it. So we have a very, very interesting agenda today. I want to take you through the agenda. By the way, there's coffee in the kitchen out there. So if you want coffee, feel free to get yourself a cup of coffee, stimulate your thinking a little bit. Let me take you through the agenda. My name is John Sapogas. I'm with the Research Foundation Office of Award Pre-Proposal Support. This is an office that created about 3 years ago to primarily help faculty develop their own research agendas and research portfolios. So we're into providing you with all the help that you need to develop proposals for external funding. So feel free to contact our office. We also have with us today Ayman El-Mohandes, who's the Dean of the CUNY School of Public Health, who's going to talk to us, give us some welcoming remarks. Kochi Hirata, the Director of the Washington Office for the Japan Society for Promotion of Science, and Tamera Schneider, Associate Vice Chancellor for Research at CUNY. We'll all be giving some welcoming remarks. I'm very grateful to the School of Public Health and Ayman for co-sponsoring this event, as well as the JSPS that has provided a tremendous amount of support, including bringing in faculty from Japan to talk to us today. My relationship with JSPS goes back to during my tenure as a program officer at NSF. We worked very closely with JSPS to develop partnerships with NSF and the Japanese to help fund research across U.S. and internationally collaborated research. So I have a long history with them, and they are a very excellent organization supporting some of the best research going on in the world. At 10:15, we've asked David Widmer who's the Manager of Scientific Development at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, to make a presentation on NIH and to traverse the complex landscape of NIH. And believe me, it is complex. There's no way that we can cover it in 45 minutes, but David has taken that challenge. I will talk a little bit about NSF and its relationship to health funding. Of course, NSF is not primarily a health funding agency, but it does support health activities that are related, support scientific activities directly related to health. I'll talk a little bit more about that. At 11:30, Yuki Kaneko, International Program Associate at the GSPS, will talk about the Japanese programs. 12 o'clock to 12:45, we have lunch. You can, lunch will be in the kitchen. You can pick up your lunch in the kitchen, and you can, of course, bring it into this room and feel free to interact with your colleagues. 12:45 to 2 p.m., we have two visiting researchers, Yukiko Tateyama and Satomi Yoshida, who will share with us the research that they've undertaken at School of Public Health at Kyoto University. And then between 2 to 3, we have our previous interim chancellor, Vita Rabinowitz, will be a moderator of a panel of CUNY researchers who have been involved in international research, 2 in Japan, 1 in Vietnam, to talk to us about the challenges associated benefits, the challenges and benefits associated with conducting international research. And then between 3 to 4, we hope you last that long. We have wine and sake and some cheese, and we can talk a little bit about what occurred with each other about what occurred during the day. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Ayman. Ayman?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this very important event. Now, I'm going to ask the audience this morning, how many of you have ever heard of Townsend Harris? Okay, good. Now, I will ask our friends from the Japanese Society and from Kyoto and from the Research Society, how many of you have heard of Townsend Harris? So I will tell you something interesting before I speak about the university at large and the School of Public Health, that you are today visiting the institution in New York, the academic institution, with the longest history of collaboration with Japan. Townsend Harris was born in 1804 and died in 1878 and is known for a famous quotation. I want you to hear this carefully. He said, "Let the children of all the rich and all the poor take their seats together and know of no distinction save that of industry, good conduct, and intellect." Townsend Harris established City College, which is one of the flagship programs of the 25 colleges and schools at City University of New York. But what is important about him is not that. What is important about him is not only that. Townsend Harris was the first consul general from the United States to Japan during the Edo period and opened Japan through shogunate to trade with the United States. So I feel today is a rebirth of this relationship. May I say that, John? I'm a romantic by nature. And although I am a scientist, I'm also very engaged in history. And I will say that maybe this is a reopening of shogunate, but more importantly, a rebridging of the long historic relationship between City University and Japan. Now, you may ask, why public health? Why am I here and why am I representing the academic leadership of this university in this encounter with you? And I don't know if you heard, but just yesterday, the first case of the coronavirus from China, the new epidemic, was diagnosed in Seattle, Washington State. And there is no better expression of globalization, not as a choice, but as a life reality and as an imperative, than health. And we in public health see the world as one place. And when asked by my dear friend John whether we would be willing or interested in establishing ourselves as one of the co-sponsors of today's event, it was obvious that we would say yes. I don't know whether I should brag, but the CUNY School of Public Health is ranked number 11 out of 110 public schools of public health in the United States, and is ranked as the number 1 public school of public health in the tri-state area in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. And for that, we are very grateful to our faculty and to our students who elevate our efficacy. More importantly, the School of Public Health is a research-centered institution with an annual productivity of approximately $300,000 per faculty in the institution. But most importantly, public health is a fulcrum that brings biological sciences, arts and sciences, policy, sociology, mathematics, and I see many of my colleagues here, so I'm counting whether I forgot to mention any of their fields, but is by nature an interdisciplinary science. And your participation today, my dear colleagues, will impress our visitors from Japan simply because of the breadth of the fields that you represent today and your enthusiasm to participate in this important event. So let's call this an awakening of Townsend Harris. I welcome my dear colleagues. Dr. Hirata, thank you so much for your responsibility of making this happen, and for the rest of our friends here, a great big embrace and welcome. May you find this the root of new friendships that you will establish and new meaningful collaborations. Thank you all so much for participating. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to be here for the sake and wine and cheese event, but I'm with you in spirit. Welcome to CUNY. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayman. I appreciate it. And I'll call upon Kochi Hirata to make some welcoming remarks.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for your introduction. I'm very happy to be here. I am the director of the JSPS Washington office. JSPS is the largest funding agency in Japan. It's something similar to NSF in the United States. And the most of the job of the JSPS is funding researchers in Japan. Not only Japanese researchers, but the researchers in Japan. So if you study in Japan, you can get some fund from our, you see? But the very tiny amount of the money is used also for the international collaboration or exchange of the people and the exchange, making a new network. And so that's why we have the office in the Washington, D.C. We also have the office in San Francisco and several other countries, around 10 offices abroad. Washington, D.C. is one of them. And our main target is to create new connections, new networks in the academies, in any field of the science, not only natural science, any field of the academic activities, including philosophies or everything, culture, the literatures. And today, the public health is, of course, one of the most important subjects. And I would say the science in Japan, modern science in Japan, started from the public health. And the first scientists were all the medical doctors or the medicine. And they promoted the modern revolution of Japan. And of course, there was a very great support from the United States from the beginning. So it's a very, very natural thing to start with this public health. But we still have some more intention. There are many, many important subjects. So in the future, I hope our collaboration will get richer and wider. But today, I hope this is a very good starting point, and you can construct something new here, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Kochi. I'd now like to introduce Tamera Schneider, our new Associate Vice Chancellor for Research. I think you arrived around Thanksgiving, and so you're fairly new, and I think her work is cut out for her in terms of developing a vision, a mission for the direction of research I personally look forward to working with her very closely to that end.
Hi, thanks, John, and welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming to this event, and I want to congratulate you, John, and your colleagues at the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science for coordinating this event and holding this event. And I'm especially grateful for those of you from Japan who have traveled so far to be here. When a diversity of talent comes together, that's when we can really gain new insights into the pressing problems that face us. And certainly there are myriad of those in the domain of public health. And the diversity of perspectives, all the way from humanities, social and behavioral sciences. I always like to add behavioral because humans are behaving individuals, and it speaks also of my own selfish discipline a little bit. And to the natural sciences, and certainly we can't leave out engineering, but all of the collaborative perspectives that are brought to bear to a table can really help us reach to new insights that weren't possible before. So I'm really excited about this networking opportunity and this collaboration. So as John mentioned, I just arrived at CUNY a couple of months ago, and I don't know if they want to know my PhD and all that stuff, but so I got my PhD down the road at Stony Brook University and did a postdoc at Yale University, where I actually focused on social and health psychology and using persuasion for the promotion of health behaviors. So public health is something that's near and dear to my heart. I became a faculty member and a professor at my home in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio at Wright State University, and had an opportunity to join the National Science Foundation, where I was a program director for the social psychology funding for colleagues across our nation. And certainly within about 8 months was promoted to deputy division director for a rotator. That's extremely unusual, but yeah, I love what I do, so there you go. So as a deputy division director, I had an opportunity to oversee 11 different scientific programs in the social, behavioral, and economic sciences, and particularly the cognitive and behavioral sciences. There's that word behavior again. And it spanned all the way from cultural anthropology to cognitive neuroscience, so and geographical and spatial sciences and everything in between. I also did a lot of work across different directorates, so math and physical sciences, our education directorate, which I won't spell out the whole thing, engineering, geosciences, biology, and also other federal agencies such as NIH, and really deeply came to appreciate, not from my own scientific practice, in which I collaborated with physicists and engineers, but also at that federal level, really appreciating deeply the innovation that comes from diverse perspectives. And so it brings me great pride that you're all here, that you're all engaged and invested in hearing each other's perspectives, having this wonderful networking opportunity to see where things can go. And I especially want to thank the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science for not only co-organizing this event, but really making very long-term investments since the 1930s, investments in the promotion of science, in the development of talent, so continuing the development of talent, and really appreciating that by working together across disciplines and across geographic boundaries, we can reach the frontiers of what is possible. And so I really applaud you all for being here, and thank you for looking at those frontiers, creating them, stepping at the edge. So thank you.